What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Let's go into our palace, shall we? Servant. Welcome, your lordship. Let me inform you the location of the chambers on your dynastic estate. Okay. Please do. The main throne room is up the stairs and straight ahead. Your subject, Archelius Scalander, has informed me that he humbly awaits the opportunity to meet with you there. Fantastic. If your lordship wishes to rest after your long journey, then your personal chambers are up the stairs and on the right. Another good thing to know. That way. Good to know. If you need anything, whatever your soul desires, I'll be right next to your chambers, eagerly awaiting your orders. Whatever your soul, my. Whatever my soul desires? Oh my. Well. Let's go check out our chambers first, shall we? Let's save before we do anything. And actually, let's check out down here because this does not look where I thought it was. Goods. Thank you. Servitors. Nothing important, it would seem. This is my room. This is my room. Faint mark on the polished mantle, please, which is likely left by a glass.
What's a peculiar thing?
The leather covers bear the names of the authors. Most philosophers and theologians from Dargonus. The spines of the books are trimmed with gold. And we found a secret. Reach, get your boots. Where the rest are select by many of the wear against 50% dodge. Neat. Cogitators producing rhythmic sounds, among which a faint ringing stands out. The remains of the plaque can be seen on the frame. Alas, the inscription is completely indistinguishable due to the patina. Antique piece of furniture is obviously well cared for, but the surface is still covered with a lot of scruffs and scratches and stains, traces of the previous rogue traders who sat at this table. Sturdy safe equipped with several bizarre mechanisms. Multi-melta. Whoa. Nice. That is enormous. This is the palace. This is our palace. Holy heck. 40K is just big. It's just what it is. It's just big. They said, you know what would be cool? There's something through there. As if we made it bigger. Bring your hand to the scan panel behind the books. You open a hidden door. The bed for the head of the rogue trader dynasty is befitting a status of its owner. Mysterious item undoubtedly created in inhuman hands. Mysterious Xeno artifact resists in a stasis field. A lot of loot, huh? Shelves of the library laden with dusty tomes, rising around works of several administratum adepts and the memoirs of some familiar explorer of distant death worlds. A mysterious item undoubtedly created by inhuman hands. A mysterious item undoubtedly created by inhuman hands. Where attacks an ally, where hits an ally with an area attack, the wearer gains one stack of zealot. Plus 10% damage to their area attacks for each stack of zealot. It's funny. Plus 10 tech bonus. Oh, whoa, that's huge for Pascal, actually. Whoa, Pascal, buddy, oh pal. Newest to oldest, please. Plus 10 to tech boost, huge upgrade over what you're currently using. Huge upgrade. Good job for you. Give me more cool stuff. Or loot. Loot is fine. An empty glass and 3 open bottles of wine sit on a finely crafted table made from dark marbled wood. The rare books arrayed on the shelves with their lavish, almost pretentious bindings seem identical. The sumptuous couch, upholstered in fine cloth, appears garish in the mellow lighting and does not look comfortable. Crackling and barely audible plaintive melody comes with the old worn speakers. Let's sit down and open up another door, shall we? The secret room is remarkably quiet and almost homely. Perhaps your predecessor used it when she saw complete solitude. Listening to the muted melody from the Vox speaker, you can easily imagine Theodore reading a book with a glass of expensive wine in hand. Choose a book. Several books are stacked on the sofa. Some pure ancient, others look like they have never been opened. Among Theodore's data that has been restored using your conjure, Litanies of the Motive Force is the title of one of the books here. Choose Litanies of the Motive Force. As you pick up the book, a hidden button in its spine clicks under your fingers. Have a glass of wine as well. 3 bottles sit on the table. They're labeled Grandmaster's Blood, Boon of Terra, and Flame of Purity. You recall the vision of the past year I told you about. Theodore's Flame of Purity. That's what I thought. The wine fills the glass, glittering in the dim light of the room like liquid gold. Its tangy flavors burns your throat, leaving behind a spicy, biting aftertaste. You hear a sort of faint hum as an unseen motor stirs into motion, changing the music. Good screen of data, for your Silver Box Symphonies. You recognize the melody that is playing right now. It is the 31st of 36 parts of the Symphony of the Hour of Duty. Hour of Duty Part 2. It was louder, then maybe back to normal. The room responds to your actions with a quiet grinding sound, and a small nook reveals itself in a nearby wall. Inside you find a databank bearing the Von Valencia's coat of arms. Is that what we were looking for? Information has been encrypted. What do we set down again? So nothing else. Interesting. Can I use that maybe on here? No. Alright. Very interesting though. And there's nothing on this side, it would appear not. I mean, there's doors, but we can't go through them. But there's probably doors everywhere in this place because it's enormous. According to the inscription on the statue, this is a gift from House Gapric of Von Valencia's dynasty. Abelard. Following those check the secretary's reports, keep an eye on the logistics master. Tanarek does a great job, and little scrutiny goes a long way. Just looking through everything. Don't mind me, everyone.
This is intriguing.
Ah. Cassia. My compliments to your taste in art. The collection here is most extensive and most interesting. I did pick it all out myself. Definitely. Pascal. My appearance caused a slight disturbance in the ranks of the servants of the Omnis I assigned to the palace. Now some reports of rituals and maintenance litanies has produced a satisfactory result. Heinrich? No, I want to talk to these people first. Your lordship, Clementia bows her head politely. For a chancellor to the road trader, she is dressed rather simply. A parade doublet, polished boots, and comfortable cloak. She bears a saber in a gilded scabbard. Whether for show or protection, one cannot say. Only a ring and the Worsterian coat of arms indicates she is the highest social stratum. The governor is waiting on the periphery of the palace. Please let him know when you'd like to see him. Awareness test. The sharp gaze and impeccable straight back composure. For a moment, you feel like you're looking at a young version of Abelard himself, not his heir. Judging by the scars and exposed parts of her body, Clementia saw her fair share of combat prior to assuming the position of Chancellor. What are your responsibilities as Chancellor? To put it simply, I'm your trade representative, and any and all decrees, deals, official communication, and meetings are first reviewed by me and then forwarded to you from down the hierarchy. My purview also includes overseeing your lordship's property, the palace, the estates, and the mini gardens and other dominions on Dargonus that you have inherited from Lady Theodora. And whenever you're president of Dargonus, you may consider me your personal secretary. What can you tell me about Dargonus? All deals and important decisions are made in here with the capital. Many years ago, an ancestor of Lady Theodora signed an agreement with the Adeptus Ministratum, which allowed for efficient management of the world and the neighboring systems. In accordance with the decree, a share of the planet's population was assigned to the Administratum and converted into servitor scribes that now toil across the entire world. Dargonus is also the seat of several noble families who run all the major planets in the Protectorate. If I may express my not so humble opinion, they care very little about who exactly stands at the helm. Those piranhas think about their own profits just as much as they do about the prosperity of the Protectorate itself, if not more. And lastly, Dargonus has its own fleet, a luxury unavailable to the massive majority of other worlds in your realm. In addition to warships, the Protectorate also employs privateer ships, which are used to transport cargo between worlds. Does the capital stay in contact with other worlds in Protectorate? Unfortunately, not at this time, your lordship. After a few days, the representative of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica on Dargonus went into a frenzy. Some of the psychers were tragically pacified by their respective authorities. Since then, communication with the neighboring systems has been unreliable at best. Thanks be to the master of mankind that you managed to find your way into the capital. The noble houses are volatile. What's the sense on their keeping them? Over the many centuries, an intricate hierarchy has formed within the ruling elite of a Dargonus. Though great houses do more than plunder your treasury, it is replenished to a large degree thanks to the administrative work in their lands. Naturally, you can get rid of anyone whom you consider surplus to their requirements, but right now it could threaten the fragile stability that is currently holding the Protectorate together. Are there any other issues that you should be aware of? Apart from the disrupted communications, Dargonus was recently raided by enemies of humanity. However, the fleet under the command of Captain Morpheus or Syrian triumphed over the cursed Xenos. If you ask for my opinion on this matter, we have the situation completely under control. Because you're avoiding gaze just for a moment, for the first time, it's obvious that Clementia is looking out for her house's good name, but despite the confidence in her tone, you can tell that she does not entirely believe her own words. Tell me about the Governor Drivestem. Urban Drivestem is a well-respected man, and he's not just on Dargonus, but throughout the Protectorate. For many centuries, his house has supported the capital's administration and the logistics between the Von Valency systems. The Drivestem's efforts secured years of order and prosperity for Dargonus. What's more, Lady Theodora personally insisted that Lord Urban specifically be made the next governor. Thank you for your report. I serve the Von Valency's Protectorate, your lordship. Achilles Scalander, does he cause any problems? Why, none at all, your lordship. Secretary Scalander is the outstanding individual and a loyal servant of Von Valency's dynasty. In Lady Theodora's absence, we collaborated on a number of issues related to the well-being of your domain, and he has proven himself quite capable. And I don't know why, but even the governor trembles before Achilles, which is unusual for a man of his, shall we say, standing. The last word brings a slight smile to her lip. The governor can wait a little longer. I still have matters to take care of. Certainly, your lordship. However, her thin lips twist slightly. Do not concern myself with the governor's feelings, but I wish your actions or inaction may be interpreted in a certain way. Now, if your lordship will excuse me. Yes, your excuse. Ah, good old Dargonus. It's boring here without Lady Theodora. She loved to liven up this stupid little place with a couple of crazy decrees and public floggings of flabbergasted Jesus. Flabbergasted nobles. Von Valency's dynasty throne, a visible symbol of the rogue trader's power, which now belongs to you. I feel powerful. The lack of observance on the sword has led to your nobles to become extremely complacent. Today alone I heard 3 statements that, if I so wanted, could be turned into grounds for a charge of heresy. And Achilles Scalander, what do you want? Slender figure clad in robes made from expensive fabric, shudders from violent coughing, pressing a gilded respirator to his face. The man takes several deep breaths. Achilles, it's been many moons. I hope your cousin's feeling well. Achilles covers his burnt lips, trying and failing to suppress a coughing fit. She is in good health. She sends her regards to you, as well as her wishes for your swift return. Heinrichs frowns. For as long as the star shines in the sky, my vigil continues. So it does. Achilles thumps himself on the chest with his augmented hand. You hear the clanging of metal against metal. I'm not so foolish as to notice a conversation in code. Your insight deserves credit, rogue trader. Then again, I expect nothing less from Theodora Von Valency's successor. Heinrich looks at Achilles. Allow me to introduce Achilles Scalander properly. In addition to his duties as Secretary of the Ministratum, he acts as an agent of the Golden Throne under my aegis. Master Scalander was transferred into my remit by a colleague who was engaged in matters of the Koronus Expanse. I'm sure you will find Achilles' services useful, especially when dealing with the schemes of humanity's foes within the borders of your Protectorate. Greetings, Lord Gregor von Valancius. Allow me again to express my deepest condolences on the loss of Lady Theodora. I will do everything I can to track down and destroy all of Kunrad Voigtvir's accomplices on the capital world. Do you know anything about what has become of Kunrad Voigtvir? The Morpher Master whispers is a heretic and a traitor to the dynasty. He nods grimly. Word of his treason reached Dargonus too late. Kunrad came to the planet and left it almost immediately. Once he had sown discord in the minds of the gullible naive, the worst of the rumors had started was that you were the one responsible for Lady Theodora's demise. Of course, your loyal subjects did their best to skin alive any who showed signs of doubt, but it seems unlikely that the wardens got to everyone who was allowed to doubt their hearts and now nurtures it in secret. You promised me a report on the present state of affairs in the Protectorate. I've already forwarded all your official reports to your seneschal. As for the conversation we're having right now, wouldn't trust any paper or data slate with its contents. You see, Lady Theodora, may the Emperor have mercy on her soul, is perfectly aware of Dargonus' political environment. Yet, however, have only just arrived in the capital world, and I thought it would be best to bring you up to speed. Frankly, the nobles of Dargonus, much like the nobles on most worlds, are akin to spiders in a charge, ready to pounce on whoever's the weakest, or whomever they deem the weakest. The nobles of Dargonus are well-respected, rich and powerful individuals who held Lady Theodora's favor for many years and found ways to rise above the rest by diligently serving the rogue trader. Every family pursues its own selfish interests, and each one expects that with the transition of power, they will be retained, even add to their lands and wealth. The families I would recommend giving particular attention to are the Drivestems, the Gapricks, and the Sauerbachs. I would also mention the Worsarians, not a noble house per se, but a family that is part of Lady Theodore's inner circle, to the Blue Blood's great displeasure. Tell me about the drive stones. Oh, I guess tell me about the Gabrics. The Gabrics hail from a remote forged world, and among their distant relatives, there are many servants of the Omnissiah, and the house itself is close to the cult of the Adeptus Mechanicus, both in spirit and in the business connections. The Gabrics oversaw the industrial shipments within your protectorate. Until recently, ever since the astropathic communication with Alpha Gamma was severed, they've been quite concerned about the security of the planet placed in their care. Tell me about the drive stones. The drive stones are the ancient governor house of Dargonus. Predictably, the greater the wealth of the Alliance's protectorate, the fuller the coffers grow. Their reputation is flawless, except for one detail. We have evidence that urban drive stones rivals have seemed to have the misfortune of regularly falling victim to Xenos raids. I find that these attacks are always a little too advantageous for the drive stones, but we still lack solid proof, and it might never surface. The closer an official is to the rogue trader, the braver and safer they feel. I would like to remind everyone that rubbing shoulders with Xenos is heresy that can be overlooked only in the case of the Von Valiance's heir, not his servant. Can you tell me about House Sarback? Religious and hardworking, the Sarabaks own many enterprises, including distillation manufactorums that produce promethium. I must note that lately the members of the Sarabak family have been prone to overly liberal statements about the Von Valiance dynasty. I believe that Lady Theodora is a bit too keen to leave her worlds without proper oversight. I'd like to know about the Rosarians. The Rosarians were a line founded by Lady Theodora's seneschal, and as such are nominally considered nobility, at least for the standpoint from the Imperial Navy, from which Lord Abelard hails. On Dargonus, however, their position is precarious. Firstly, they are never granted an official title, a process that has been impeded for decades by the old houses of Dargonus. And secondly, the other families do not see them as equals, but more as upstarts clinging to the rogue trader's favor. The Rosarians are responsible for the capital fleet's world's fleet and the majority of cargo shipments on domestic routes. And about the nobles. Was there anything else you wanted to report? There was, your lordship, and at this time it concerns the main reasons for my presence on this planet. Xenos and the threat they pose to both you and humanity as a whole. The last few months have been difficult for the people who report to me. My eyes and ears scattered throughout the Koronus Expanse. Warp disturbances, astropaths overcome with madness, ships disappearing in the Imperium. Many of my observers and contacts have gone dark or have been killed by some calamity or other. Still, I managed to establish communication with some key individuals who were able to warn me about incoming threats, including Xenos raids. Achilles looks at you in the eye without blinking. It is within my power to supply you with intelligence on where and when the Xenos will strike next. I do not doubt Governor Drivestone will beg for you for protection against the Xenos, and in this fight, the information from my contacts will serve you well. I beseech you, Gregor, if I ever report a threat looming over a ship or a planet, do not dismiss it. Sometimes it takes the intervention of a rogue trader and his mighty voidship to avert a disaster. Tell me about the noble houses. I've already heard them. Continue. What are your responsibilities here on Dargonus? Officially, I'm the secretary of this world's administrative department. Less officially, I'm afraid I can't disclose that even to you. In short, I collect and investigate reports of heresy taking root on the upstanding planets of humanity. Above all else, I'm concerned about the Xenos threat that hangs over the entire Koronus Expanse, including your protectorate. Sadly, my mission was complicated by the recent warp disturbances, and I'm still trying to re-establish contact with many of my agents. Talk about the Xenos. The residents of the local systems are no stranger to the skirmishes with enemies humanity, but recently the loathsome beast seems to have completely flown off the handle. Receiving reports from ships that made it through the warp to Dargonus, both they and the colonies that they departed from are being attacked. We've identified the breed of Xenos that pose this threat, the Drukhari, humanity's ancient and insidious foes. Be vigilant of your travels. The Xenos will undoubtedly attack a rogue trader ship should they find the circumstances to be in their favor. Unfortunately, in the host of humanity, there are those who are willing to grovel before our enemies in the hopes of valuable reward. You may be interested to know that we are on the trail of such heretics. He glances at the data slate. Overwhelming evidence indicates that a marauded void station in Landgren's belt is being used as a base by the band of pirates who are not above dealing with Xenos. I was unable to persuade the Chancellor of the need to dispatch a ship there, but perhaps you'd like to pay the courtesy call to these scoundrels yourself. Do you know anything about the cult of the Final Dawn? My knowledge is deplorably limited, your lordship. All my attention has been focused on tracking Xenos activity. I'm certain the Master Von Calix can tell you much more about these heretics than I can. About your unofficial work. Yes. Whom do you truly serve? The rogue trader and the interrogator of the Inquisition. And whom does the rogue trader serve? The Golden Throne, the Protectorate? Could it be the one stems from the other? And if so, is there any sense in discussing it? I want a list of your agents and means to contact them. I can understand that your desire as rogue trader to have anything under your control, and yet I'm not at liberty to make use of classified information related to the interrogator agents in whichever way I see fit. He lowers his gaze and nods politely. Henrik sets out a sigh of disappointment. There's no point in pressing my agents. None of them would ever reveal such vital information, especially not in my presence. I've learned all I needed. Bows and brings respirator's burnt lips. I have other questions. What happened to your face? About 5 years ago, there was an accident. Several tanks of promethium exploded in the storehouse of my estate, and I was buried alive under the rubble. The Emperor preserved my soul, and the skilled physicians of Dargonus saved my body, except for my lungs, for which I had to part. I presume the incident was an attempt on my life. The identity of whoever was behind it remains a mystery. Just take my leave. According to the message I received a few minutes ago, Governor Ashton was arrived at court. I imagine that the Chancellor is ready prepared to arrange the meeting, and that's all that's left for you to notify her. Alright, well, let's do some more talking, shall we? Let's say first. Lordship, he's waiting. Tell them that I'm ready to see the governor. I shall arrange for him to be escorted to your study. Did I say I wanted him in my study? Gregor von Valancius, 20th in his line, rogue trader, keeper of the sacred warrant, the ruler of the Koronus Expanse, from the cratic system of the 100 Dreams Crossroads, I bid you welcome. Urban Drivestem, governor of the great world, first and foremost, please accept my dearest condolences. It is difficult to recover from the loss of a woman as great as Theodora von Valancius. It pains me to think that she is no longer with us. The citadel of Dargonus and the entire protectorate grieve alongside you. Please allow us to declare half a year of mourning so that we can honor the memory of our beloved lady. Theodora von Valancius, there's more than that. You would declare a full year of mourning. I feel like this is bouncing and I don't like it. I immediately give all necessary instructions, your lordship. You cast his free buttons, cogitated built to his gold bracer. Seemed Gregor, Lady Theodora was a strong leader, and we ought to follow her example. Let us lean on our wisdom and persevere in spite of her tragedy. Together, and let us carry on where she no longer can by leading von Valancius' protectorate to even greater prosperity. Alas, it won't be an easy task to accomplish. Some time ago, Astropaths of Dargonus flew into a rage, and they had to be subdued. We are gradually restoring our ability to speak with neighboring worlds, but the contacts are still weak, and the routes are tangled and no longer lead to the systems that the captains expect them to. Given the vast majority of ships in the Dargonus Navy travel without relying on the service of navigators, without your engagement, and the well-being of the House von Valancius dynasty and the billions of soldiers are presently at risk. We met a ship from Dargonus not long ago. The crew was transporting a strange artifact and went mad during the flight. The governor presses a number of buttons on the cogitator built into his bracers and looks up at you in surprise. To understand, the ship did indeed depart from order, but it did so, if you can believe it, on the rogue trader's authorization. That's why no one dared to impede its departure. Lord Captain, it would seem that Kunrad somehow got his hands on a copy of your authorization, or perhaps even the original. A tool that in the hands of the rogue trader does not bode well. Kunrad Voitvir, Master of Whispers, is a heretic and a traitor. Has he shown his face on Dargonus? We know he has. The governor pensively strokes the rings of glittering on his fingers. Lord Voitvir visited the capital some time ago, but he did not request a personal meeting. A heretic, you say. Now I see where all the whispering in the quarters has come from. I shall be frank with you, your lordship. Lady Theodora's sudden death was a blow to every one of us. In the absence of any sort of verifiable and complete information about her successor gives grounds for all manners of rumors and misinterpretations, especially if someone is deliberately inciting unrest and discontent. Naturally, none would dare challenge you by accusing you of something sacrilegious, murder, or traitor. However, Kunrad Voitvir was once a true boon to the protector back in the day, and as such, some might heed his words. My subjects' doubts are understandable. Too many things have changed in too short of a span. I will prove myself worthy of the position. Why, Gregor, your desire is most commendable, but please do not forget, a ruler should never bow to their attendants, or some might see it as weakness. What exactly do the Dargonus nobility expect from me in light of the loss of the routes of communication in other worlds? We were troubled by the fate of the agro-world Janus that supplied Dargonus and other planets with foodstuffs. Empty stomachs can drive even the mildest rabble to revolt. Furthermore, House Gasaprick is perturbed by the loss of communication with the industrial world Cap Gamma, which is in their charge. But if you wish to know my opinion, the world that deserves your attention most is the penal world Vivos 6, one of the key mining suppliers in your protectorate. Such intriguing concern for the Vivos 6 outpost. Doesn't your house happen to own some of the extraction stations there? Draftsman's beady eyes widen in fear. Your lordship, I beg of you, do not interpret my words as an attempt to influence your decision in any way. You see, without Vivos 6, the manufactorums on your worlds will need to make haste to find new suppliers elsewhere and arrange for new shipments in these troubling times. They run the risk of delays and other most tragic mishaps. My only concern is for the prosperity of the von Valancius dynasty. I already visited the agri-world Janus. Governor Viat found herself facing a number of problems in my absence. Truly, the Viat line is one of the oldest in the von Valancius protectorate. If the inheritor of such a well-respected blood could not handle whatever had befallen her, then the situation would have been extraordinary indeed. Justinza succumbed to worshipping the ruinous powers and was executed. Riveston pales in terror. It is a clear, unseemly grimace on his aristocratic countenance that the fear is not feigned. Ruinous powers, true horrifying news. I commend your resolve and unwavering severity. Death to the enemy's humanity. That does it for the plants and trade routes. What else? Xenos, your lordship. I don't rightly know where to begin. He rubs the bridge of his nose warily. Otherworldly beasts are not an uncommon sight in the Koronus Expanse. They have been a menace to the worlds, the set of them all for decades. But now those abominations are on the rampage. They show no signs of fear, and they attack ships, either damaging them to the point where they become unfit for transport duty or outright gutting them. Only you have the power to stop this madness. We are in the process of restoring the astropathic choir of Dargonus. Luckily, we were forced to slay only some of the deranged psychers, although those that remain are yet unable to transmit missions. I hope Master Scalander will keep his word and offer you support in the war against Xenos. According to his reports, this region of Vebos 6 has been particularly concerned in the last few cycles, which is all the more reason to discover the colony's fate as soon as possible. Ugh. Now, to issue a smaller scale, there's a certain degree of tension in the capital due to the unorthodox succession of the sacred warrant. Chances of uprising are minimal, of course, and the spreading of rumors is nothing but a sign of weakness of mind and spirit. Nevertheless, I prepared a list of minor houses that demonstrate unseemly against composure succession. What is to be done about them? These steps will be enough. Leave them be. They're to make range for public purges. Send disgruntled nobles, lava skips. Send disgruntled nobles lavish gifts on my behalf and make sure that my generosity does not go unnoticed by the rest. An elegant solution, your lordship. Other families will presume that your relationships with the Defiant houses are more complicated than one might think, and the agitators receive the message they are being watched. And one last thing, your lordship. Your inauguration as bearer of the sacred warrant is but a matter of time, and I would like to inquire about one crucial detail. Imagine you are intending to uphold the centuries-old tradition bolstered by equally long-lasting friendship of being represented on Dargonus by one of the noble houses. I presume that, as before, this duty will be accorded to House Drivestem. One moment. Which houses can represent me? Any of the noble houses located at Dargonus, the Drivestem family, which I lead, the Gapper family, which sides with the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Sirebacks, known for their piety and diligent service, perhaps also the Warsarians, who have some of the influence but are not exactly of noble origin. Any of those houses will be honored or receive the ceremony. I suppose I'll bestow the honor to the Warsarians. Abelard turns to you and bows respectfully. Lord Captain, to accompany you in such a critical hour is the greatest honor for the Warsarian bloodline. Have no fear, we will not fail you. Drivestem tosses Abelard a look that lacks even the most smallest shred of respect. Forgive my boldness, but I must remind you that the Warsarians, whose lineage traces back to a Navy officer, are not of Dargonus nobility. Such a decision may adverse affect your subject loyalty, your lordship. Drivestem's face breaks into a bitter smile. I shall immediately relay commands, most gracious Lord Trader. Thank you for your time. Tell me about yourself and House Drivestem. It will be my pleasure to enlighten you. My house is the oldest and most respected on Dargonus. My ancestors walked side by side with yours for many generations as they cared for this world's welfare. Our duty is to supervise the governing bodies within the system subservient to you, and we are responsible for the protectorate, logistics, and economic stability. As for me personally, I'm a humble servant of the Emperor and a loyal subject of the Rogue Trader, and to my great pleasure, I had the honor of calling myself Leo Theodore's close friend. At Urban's last words, Abelard lets out a sound that could be interpreted as either a snort or a cough. Urban gives him a look, which Abelard meets with an expression of utter nonchalance. I would like to complete my inauguration as Rogue Trader as soon as possible. When is the ceremony? I'm afraid that until you deal with the pressing issues, the ceremony will have to be postponed. Many trade routes are still unavailable, and the central worlds of the Von Valence Protectorate are going through a crisis, and the warp disturbances of void observers are to be believed will prevent the important guests from reaching the capital. That'll be all, I take it. Thank you for your time, your lordship. Since duty calls, I shall I take my leave. May the Emperor's grace be with you. Aye, aye, Captain. So now what? We need to go to Kiava Gamma. That's the last thing we need to do. Okay. To Kiava Gamma it is. No fighting on Dargonus. I guess this should where we see the least bit of fighting because it's our capital, you know, so makes a little bit of sense, I guess. Get me out of here. Look how fast Gregor is. Gonna be a lot of hopping around. Oh, terrible news from Dargonus, Lord Captain. The subsidiary Hive City, Siopon 84-249 has been destroyed in a series of cascading failures. Production has halted, and millions of people have broken their vows of obedience and are fleeing. Many of them are perishing in the wastelands and overloading the transport lines leading to neighboring hives. The surrounding residential sections are becoming increasingly agitated by the influx of refugees. What are your directive regarding the distribution of these refugees? What is the cause of catastrophe? Still unclear. The noble houses are throwing the blame at one another. Agents the venerable Achilles Galander stationed on the Siopian 84-249 have died heroically while trying to save the population from the disaster. The latest reports mention some vulnerabilities in the industrial sectors of the lower hive, but do not go into further detail. Additionally, all your servants are currently busy with investigating the causes of the crisis, but are not doing anything to deal with its consequences. So say my advisors. The death of Achilles' agents trouble me. It may not be a coincidence. Until the causes of the disaster can be consequently established, I avoid letting refugees into other hives. There may be saboteurs among them. I'd recommend setting up prohibitive cordons where the refugees can be contained to the wastelands between the hives. The Emperor bids us to face the often cruel strokes of fate with dignity. If the other hives now wish to accept the order for conviction of the tragedy, then let the victims themselves teach those living in the hives a lesson of resilience and humility. I'm sure the ecclesiarchy will aid the refugees in constructing camps to survive on the wastelands, establish a community of proud desert-dwelling martyrs. Such harsh conditions will be a crucible of fortitude and fearlessness in the tragedy. No, I don't want to do that. I want... Oof. Let's do this one. Urgent to see to the ecclesiarchy would not ignore the limits of the poor. We're going to do this one. There's no negative, and also it keeps them out so they can't sabotage anybody. He who dares to remain deaf to the pleas of the destitute shall be branded a traitor to the faith. Large labor settlements were set up around the ruins of Siopian 84-249 to where the refugees from the wastelands and neighboring hives had been rounded up, and the harsh wasteland scorched With industrial poison, with only a bare modicum of food and clean water, the settlement residents begin the arduous, dangerous task of rebuilding their fallen home. Many of the ecclesiarchy priests shot to share the burden with the poor souls coming to the villages to preach them about the righteousness of hard work. Some pastors had even chosen to stay in the camps permanently, where the desert cults of Aconite martyrs have begun to gather around them, glorifying the local captain for granting them the right to suffer for the glory of the god emperor. That's right, you have the right to suffer. And we got a new place. New hives to be established on top of the ruins. Pretty good, I would say. Profit factoring complacency. Ooh, we get mechanisms and weapons from this one. The surviving spine of the will be able to space ability. I think I'm gonna go with this one for my weapons and mechanisms. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's pop out of here and probably call this an episode because we are pushing it. I've read a lot and I want to take a slight break from all that. We'll be going, either make this easier to travel or make this just easy to travel and then jump to here and then get over to here. We're gonna just do this, make it unsafe, or make this one safe. Let's make this one safe. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.